Call this meeting to order. Shelby County Supervisors. It's Tuesday, January 16th. Any conflicts on the agenda today, man?
None.
We had a change to the agenda. Number 7 will be reported at our next meeting. With removing that, do I have a motion to approve our agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Had a chance to look over the minutes from January 2nd, excuse me. Any changes or correction to it, Mark?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the January 2nd minutes as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Chance to look over the claims.
Yep.
Any questions?
None. Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce, to approve the claims as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-10, the lost revenue declaration for unused ARPA funds. Mark?
Shelby County granted itself dollars to repair the sewers and do certain sewer projects at the courthouse. Those projects are complete, and there's $18,582. And in the resolution, it explains that we're able to claim that as lost revenue,
Right.
and we'll put it back.
With the resolution.
Yeah, we'll take that money from ARPA and put it in the general funds and write a check to conservation for some needed repairs,
For capital.
and the rest will go into capital
Okay.
for the general fund. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions with that, guys?
Nope.
None.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2024-10?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Grant application to authorize the chairperson to sign for medical examiner training.
I've never seen one of these before, but Jenny Lefebvre sent this to me, and they need, because we pay the medical examiner fees, I think that's why we are asked, why the supervisors are asked to sign this document. And it's just a grant for medical examiner training.
It's passed through. They have the money
Correct.
for that.
Correct.
Because of the grant.
And I just need a motion to authorize the chairperson to sign the grant.
Any other questions?
None.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie, to the grant application for the medical examiner training. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next on the agenda, Todd Lee, Shelby County Chamber report. Morning, sir.
Morning, Todd.
Good morning.
Staying out of the cold.
Well, staying out of the cold, and I've been trying to do our best to help both our emergency services and our business folks share, what's going on out there. So I think I spent more time on social media in the last 5 days than I probably had in the last 5 months, trying to keep track of what was all going on. But so kind of just a real short update, because even our offices have been closed a little bit here over the last few days. But just a reminder to the public, January is National Blood Donor Month, and with things like weather issues like we're having right now, you can see why that's so important. So there is one today actually at Vets from 11:30 to 5:30. Then there's one next Monday at MER2, and you can schedule an appointment for that by calling Ruth over there. And then finally on the 24th, there'll be one in Westphalia at St. Boniface Parish Center from 11 to 5. So get a hold of those folks, or just go to the American Red Cross website and you can sign up there too. But it's important to make donations right now. Weather permitting, just a reminder that this Saturday, starting at 10 o'clock out at the chamber, will be the first legislative coffee for the new legislature session. I'm expecting we'll be able to hold it right now, but the way things have been going, we'll wait and see. But I think we'll be okay there. So that'll start at 10 o'clock. And again, it'll be out at the Shelby County Chamber on this one.
Do you have a schedule of when they all are?
We do, yeah. So it's always the third Saturday of the month. The February legislative coffee will be at the Farm Bureau here in Harlan.
Okay.
The March one will be in Elkhorn at Kringle Man Pastries and that'll, both February and, March will have all 3 representatives at. I think we're only gonna have Jason and Steve at
And
January.
they're all at 10 o'clock.
They're all at 10 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
And then April is always, depends on where they are in session. If there's still, some things that have not been passed yet that are in discussion that are impactful. A lot of times, by the time we get to the 3rd Saturday of April, things are pretty much wrapped up, but we'll see how that goes. And then the final thing, again, kind of coming off this weather, if anybody out in the general public has family that is out in the country and says, after this last bout, I'd like to move into town. Hanson House is actually running a special right now for a move-in special. So if they have an interest on that, that'll run through the end of March. But for your first 90 days, pay for 2 months and you get 1 month free. So again, like I said, I'm sure there are some family out there that say, yeah, this is the last time I want to do this out here. I want to get into town. So good timing on their moving special. All righty. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Next on the agenda, Kyle Lindberg, Jail Administrator. We're going over some jail room board fund fees, expenditures. Kyle?
He's coming.
Okay.
Hard to see him. Oh, he took his jacket off.
I was going to get a drink.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
Good.
Well, that was Alex that had the jacket on.
Yeah. Okay. Here this morning, obviously per state guidelines versus with Iowa Room and Board expenditure requests. Well, I guess basically obtaining board approval here to request to spend would be $40,000 out of our Room and Board expenditure fund. Real quick here for those who aren't familiar with the Room and Board fund. Room and Board fund is not actual general fund tax dollars from the citizens. Basically what this is money that's brought into the jail from inmates pay for stays that we've collected over the years. So we are, well, this is jumping back probably to August of last year, in the process of upgrading our camera system in the 911 jail sheriff's office facility from the previous update that we did back in 2016 that carried in 2017, which just seems like we just did a year or so ago here, but it's crazy how time flies. But obviously through our old IT vendor, that company that we're utilizing is no longer in the works. So just kind of a real quick rundown of this. I'm just requesting to spend the $40,000 from our Room and Board to utilize towards the purchase of our new camera system. It's going to be through Verkada. It's a California-based camera system, but California-based company. It's state-of-the-art. It's all basically IT. It's cloud-driven. There is no local camera servers. There is no support. Basically, this is a one and upfront fee that we're going to pay. And it's perpetual. Basically, we pay it now. We pay nothing else for 5 years until our license comes up for a license agreement renewal. So,
I'm sure Austin's been involved.
correct.
with
Yes,
this.
Austin, myself, and actually even Alex with the EMA. We've met with Verkada probably a handful, probably 9 or 10 times. Kind of the nice thing about this is like a massageable thing because there's some areas that we'd like to cover, but right now, basically we're just needing to get our system that we currently have in place updated and replaced. And then, we can always eventually add on to this. Nice thing about this is this is transferable. So magically someday we get a new jail or something like that along down the roads and these cameras can come off the wall, plug and play, and be reinstalled at a new location. So nice thing, the big thing for even Austin's big thing is the support. I mean, everything's remote. If it doesn't work, if a camera goes bad, basically they mail us another one and we put it up and there's no cost to us. So basically that was the issue that we had in previous was surprise charges. We're told this is what we're going to pay now, and 6 months down the road, oh, you need to retire licensing or you need to upgrade your licensing, and those nickel and dimes eventually added up to be more expensive than the total
And they're
cost.
not nickels and dimes.
Correct. And we kind of went through this a little quicker because we were able to obtain about a $12,500 discount for purchasing prior to the end of January. So, because we originally massaged the total cost from down about $125 to the 108. So kind of broke it down there a little bit. The 2024 payment, how it's going to come out of my portion, EMA IT portion, and then the balance that's going to be allowed us to carry over till after our July 1 to our new fiscal year. So
Kyle, in the past, your room and board money, have you normally used that for one-time expenses, or do you ever use it to subsidize your operating?
well, the thing with per chapter 356, the Iowa Room and Board Code section basically allows the state states that it can be 60-40 split between the sheriff's office and 40% of the general fund.
Okay.
Back in 2005, the Shelby County Board of Supervisors gave the sheriff's office 100% control of use of those funds. Cannot be used for, basically used for security, infrastructure, operational. It cannot be used for anything like obviously salaries or along those
Okay.
lines. So purchases that come up such as like these where we can enhance the security and or, you know, maybe eventually looking at getting some type of metal detectors coming into our facility are things that we can utilize these funds for. So
Really, that's what it's there for.
correct, that's what they're for.
I
It's,
just want to make sure you weren't depending on it, or if you're any of your operating.
no, that is correct. So basically, my request is basically to spend $40,000. It has been verified. I attached on the second page here the fund balance report, what's currently in that account.
Yep.
Verified the amount, there's been no expenses. And this is an account that eventually takes in revenue over time, so eventually we grow back up. I'd like it to grow a little faster than it does, but, you know, at this point in time. And then basically I just attached the quote presented to us and a little bit of information on bite speed, so.
I'm sure the EMA, everybody else on board, Sheriff.
I just want to add one thing real quick.
Yep.
I know Kyle, Alex, and Austin have worked on this a lot over the past several months. And Kyle and I have met, and back in 2016 when we updated our system, 9 years ago, they've worked on getting the sticker price for this software and system to about the same as what we paid back in 2016. So kudos to them for doing that. So
Okay.
that's about where we're at. So.
Yeah, the nice thing about it is it's all upfront, like it's there isn't those surprise costs that come down, because that was my question probably every meeting. I know Blake and Tanner from Mercado were like, yes, Kyle. It's just you have to understand our past. I don't want to have that come up because I don't like surprise bills.
Do you have a written agreement with them?
Correct, everything, yeah, it's right there. Basically, it states the fact of this is the cost that we pay up front. They supply all these services and the camera and the licensing, the storage. Nice great about it too is we don't have to offload videos right away, so that's gonna save us some money going down the road because we don't have to back up videos every 2 weeks, 3 weeks to an external device. Because we have license with them, I can pull video clips up from 4 years ago. Starting when we go with them, it retains that entire time that we have that license. And data is key, and it's always housed off-house, so.
So if we approve this today, how soon do you think you get moving on this?
Basically, the approval today, and then Alex approaches his EMA board tomorrow
Okay.
for his section portion, and once that's done, we'll sign off. Then they'll ship equipment, and I think Bob from Tech Zone, who's locally from Jefferson, Iowa, slated the week of the 29th, he could probably be in our facility.
Oh, really?
And they're
Okay.
anticipating 3 days. Maybe they may pad a 4th day depending, because right now with the colder, we have perimeter cameras going up on the exterior too, as well. So kind of weather depending, but 3 or 4 days. So
Okay.
we're gonna try and maybe work with a neighboring county I've already been in contact with to say, hey, if this would speed the process up, would they be willing to house, some of our inmates for
Okay.
a day so we can get that done and then flip. So, yep, just basically went through the channels to obtain your guys' approval to spend those funds and then ready to rock and roll. So I'm glad it's a project that seems to be moving kind of quick, but when you look back over 6 months, we need it, because right now if our current system goes down, we are SOL. We have no access to anything, so.
Okay. Appreciate your work on this and the team effort. Appreciate that.
So,
You guys have any other questions?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve the jail room and board fund expenditure for the camera system?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
Back to grindstone.
Next on secondary roads report and fuel bid consideration. Morning, Brandon.
Brandon?
Chris?
Morning.
Good morning.
You can pull the chair if you want.
That's okay. One more time.
One more time.
So fuel bid, I know in the past we used to do about 75% to 80% of fuel. A couple of years ago we switched to 100%, and I
Yep.
think it's really saved us a lot of money. with fuel fluctuations, what they've been. That being said, we are pretty much the same. We added a little bit of diesel fuel over last year for EMS, and we added some more gas a haul for the sheriff's department since they added 7 or 8 more vehicles. With that addition, I think we added about 20,000 gallons of gas and 4,000 or 5,000 gallons of diesel. Our bid is actually $43,000 cheaper than it was last year.
Just because of price difference.
Price difference. So the gas is down about 35 cents between the tank wagon and the transport. Number 1 diesel's down $1.08.
Wow.
And number 2 diesel's down 43 cents. So that all being said, we received 2 bids from Agriland FS and Farm Service Co-op. Agriland FS was $637,979.35, and Farm Service Co-op was $650,196. A difference of $12,216.65. Secondary roads recommendation would be accept Agriland FS's bid of $637,979.
Can you remind me who has it presently?
Agriland.
Harlan.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and it's been working well like that since before I was county engineer, and I'd recommend keeping it that way.
And have we been pretty close on what we, it's still a guesstimate at 100%, and we've been a little long on that, or a little short, or about?
Diesel's pretty darn close. We added a little bit a couple years ago, just because we were going over. Diesel's pretty close. Gas was close. When we added the deputies, we went over, so that's why I recommended.
So if you go over, I take it, it's just spot in that day?
Yep, it's off the rack price.
Okay.
Whatever gas is would cost us that day, so.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve Agriland FS's bid for $637,979.35?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work on that.
Yeah. I can't take the credit for it. Ann does most of it.
I'll tell her that then.
Yeah. So I bet you know what I'm going to talk about. Snow and cold. Had a fun winter storm this weekend.
We had one?
Yeah, blowing snow, and basically just wanted to give a reminder to everybody. If we're gonna get 11 inches of snow and it's gonna blow 35, 40 mile an hour, if you're in the country, we're gonna try to do the best we can, but we're only human. We run 5 to 5. We don't have enough guys to run 2 crews.
And they have to have a break too.
Yep. If it's unsafe for our operators, we'll pull the guys. If we feel that they can't see or it's more of a danger to be out there, then we're doing any good. We'll pull the guys. But when we're running full steam, we've got 6 dump trucks out, 12 maintainers, and then this last storm we had 3 loaders going too. And then the blower will be out today cleaning up some spots where there's big cuts. When you were there, Bryce, the loader won't open the roads up. It's more for widening them out. If there's a 10-foot drift, it won't handle it. You can't go slow enough with the loader. There's too much volume of snow. So, yeah, we're completely out right now trying to get everything widened up before another snowstorm, potentially Thursday. So, keep our eye on that.
Couple inches you're hearing?
Yeah, 3, but the 40 mile an hour wind that they're talking about is
Again?
the scary part. So
Okay.
we'll take it. We'll see how it does, and we'll take it in stride. Just the guys I appreciate everything they do. They've been out some long days here. So and then I know we've got 2 trucks down. One, there's turbo out. We've been waiting on. Hopefully that comes today. And then one of the graders is currently down. Been waiting on Ziegler for a parts drop for a blower motor. It's kind of important to have a blower in the cab when it's -10 out, otherwise you can't really see after it ices over. So, and that's kind of a deal. They gotta take the seat out of the grader and everything. So if we get that motor, we'll get that one back up and going, and to be at full, well, we're at full strength, we have a spare, but it's nice to have that one in the sitting instead of running. And then I guess in the office, been working on county 5-year plan with Chris. Might have a update to the current year plan with that bridge out of Reining. Chris might bring that to you next time. We've just been kind of seeing how everything fits and what we have materials for and how we can go, because steel beams used to be a dime a dozen and everybody had them and willing to get them to you, but I think we found a line on some more here yesterday actually, so we'll see if that turns anything up and keep plugging away on that. So
Okay.
that's all I had for today.
We have full staff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Had a new guy start 3 weeks ago, I think. So currently we're at full staff.
Okay. Getting some apps for the assistant's job.
Which one so far.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and get a hold of him here yet this week and see if he'll come in.
Okay. And that position will stay open until we fill it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Brandon, thanks for your years of service.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Good luck to you
Thanks.
in your next adventure. Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Next on the agenda is Supervisors Committee reports.
You want Jordan on there?
Jordan. I did.
Yep.
Number 10.
I did. Sorry. Just.
He's a 10.
EMS report, Jordan. Good morning.
Morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
He skipped you, didn't want to.
Yeah. I put a line in there.
There's nothing going on, so
Yeah, right.
started making some EMS wage scales.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of different stuff in here. I sent it to Galloway for his review. He hadn't got back to me yet this morning. He was in CPR. This will be something that we need to try and adopt at the next meeting.
Okay.
I've got one EMT that is finishing his paramedic program, so I would need to change his pay scale. And I've got one that has their critical care that I need to change just a little bit. So,
So is the language or whatever pretty close here to what our handbook is, or is our handbook? Okay. Okay. So what would the new additions just be, the wage scale?
pretty much.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yep. And then we've been running roughly 4 calls a day since we started, so we haven't really slowed down at all yet.
Keeping vehicles running?
Everything's been going good with vehicles so far, so
Okay.
hopefully we can keep it that way.
Okay. People able to get into work? Kinda.
Those that couldn't, we figured out how to mitigate that,
Yeah,
so.
you guys are good at that.
I had to go pick up a dispatcher on Saturday in Atlantic, so that was a fun drive.
But it was.
Should work all weekend, so did that.
Made it work, right?
And I had to pick up one of my paramedics out of a snowbank on Sunday, but he made it to work eventually, so.
Okay. You have quite a few calls, or kind of them as above average, or?
It
not
wasn't too
really?
bad.
Wasn't too bad, that's good.
We said, we haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't really had any car accident calls with this weather so far, so.
Okay. Wow, okay.
That's good. Was you ready to come down here and they asked if I needed anything, and I said no. I said, you can go to my board of supervisors meeting, and Dave said, I'll go. So what do you got to present on? And I said, just let me know how things are going. He said, well, I think it's going great, and we should have done this 20 years ago.
Yep,
So-
great. Awesome. So this last page, that will be on the agenda for next week. You see any changes coming between now and then? Well, something would, okay.
No,
We'll get it on there then, Mark. Okay,
no, should be pretty cut and dry.
okay, thanks, appreciate it.
Anything else?
Jordan.
No?
Perfect, sounds
Yeah,
good.
Keep it up.
Good work.
Okay.
What'd you end up doing for snow removal down there?
MJ's, they were doing
Okay.
it before, and they came in less than
Cool.
the
Okay,
other one, so.
I was just making sure it was getting done.
It's getting done, we'll see how it goes. If we need to do something different, we will, but so far so good.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
Good, thanks.
Jordan.
Next on the agenda is supervisor committee reports. You guys have anything? Let's
Nothing.
go first.
No.
Okay. I got a couple things. First, I'll give an update on CO2 pipeline update. Well, IUB hearing, of course, is finished. There was over 7,000 pages of evidence. The attorneys for all parties had till the end of December to file their brief on what their arguments were for or against the pipeline. And so I'm going to give you a brief summary of the counties, which Tim Whipple is our attorney for the 7 counties, and he gave a 90-page brief. And so here's a summary that pretty much pertains to what Shelby County issues are, okay? First, I'll start out for anybody that wants to look. There was actually 91 pages, and it can be read online at iub.iowa.gov, and it's in docket number HLP-2021-0001. So you can go online and you can read everything on there. Of course, there were 6 other counties involved. Again, they are Kossuth, Floyd, Emmett, Dickinson, Wright, and Woodbury counties, along with Shelby County. The county objects. These are some of the summaries of what our main meat was. The county objects to the use of eminent domain for an economic development project because it does not serve a public use. Iowa's statute and the Constitution restrict the use of eminent domain. Pipeline company must comply with Iowa Chapter 479B, which is the hazardous pipeline chapter, which states they must state the relationship of the project to present and future land use and zoning ordinances. Well, that's what we have, but that's what they're suing us over. So, and we give our reasons in there why the state should stick to that part of the statute. Our comprehensive plan, which was approved in 1998, over 25 years ago, states that any industrial user, whether it's a company, whether it's a pipeline company, they're an industrial user, must stay away from all incorporated cities in Shelby County by 2 miles. But they can come and ask for a variance if they can show us evidence why they need to be closer. And that is to preserve our economic development growth areas, period. It's not for safety. This was for economic development. Because if you look at most cities, your new housing, your economic industrial parks, where they located, the growth areas are on the outskirts of town. With that said, they totally ignored our zoning proposal within our county. We have a 2-mile setback of all counties, but they can ask for a variance. By totally ignoring our zoning proposing, they are within 131 feet from the city limits of Early. And we have brought that issue up a lot. Even the Early City Council has filed objections with the Utility Board. And we give other evidence in there where, the pipeline company has said all along they didn't like these counties coming in. They say midstream changes something in the middle of the road. Well, we revised ours to include residents and like animal confinements, but our 2-mile setbacks from the city has been there 25 years. We just ask them to, obey what we have in place. Another interesting part that we made point of, again, it has to serve a public purpose, but we're a trunk line through Shelby County from Ida County to Page County. There's more than 126 miles to hook up to one ethanol plant that goes through Shelby County. But there's 6 ethanol plants within 60 miles of Harlan, yet none of those proposed ethanol plants plan to participate in this boondoggle. What is a boondoggle? A boondoggle is a wasteful and worthless project undertaken for political and corporate or personal gain, typically a government project funded by taxpayers. If the pipeline permit was approved, here's some of the conditions that we put in our brief. Requiring they obtain all applicable permits for construction. That sounds like a no-brainer, but there's a lot of local permits that they need to get. Just one for an example is they need to get road crossing permits. We got 25 road crossings in our county, and they cannot eminent domain or condemn our road crossings. They have to come and get a permit, pay the fees, and do whatever we have, as long as we have a policy in place, and we do. Resolve all litigation with counties before construction starts. They have 7 lawsuits out there now within the state. IUB should not allow permanent landowner easements, and operations of the lease should happen when a pipeline is not used for CO2, sold or carrying another commodity. Well, what we mean by that is, right now, all these leases they set up run forever, they're perpetual. And we like to see it in, I don't know why, but once they're getting it passed for a CO2 pipeline, once a CO2 pipeline would either non-exist or they would sell it for a different commodity running through there, that easement should end, and that new owner should have to go through that process. Not allowing any CO2 sequester offtake, which means they're getting paid to bury it in a cavern, and they just say it's supposed to help the environment. It should not go down the road for oil enhanced recovery, fracking. If they do get the site they want up in North Dakota, it's like 70 some miles from the Baltic oil fields up there. And so it kind of defeats the purpose of taking the CO2 out for fossil fuels, and then you go use it for something like that. So that was another restriction we asked to be put on there if they get the permit. No pipeline construction until PHMSA has completed their final rulemaking on the new CO2 pipeline standards. Ever since the Satarsha incidents in Mississippi in 2020, they realized they're a lot more dangerous and can travel a lot further than people ever anticipated. Because of that, PHMSA, which is a pipeline safety feds, are rewriting their rules as we speak. They hope, I went to a meeting a couple months ago, they hope to have the rules out in March and then hopefully have them finalized by the end of the year. We're asking that they do not move ahead with this project until those new rules can be put in place. Require Summit to release dispersion modeling before construction of the pipeline. We've been asking that since day one. We feel that dispersion modeling is required by all the pipeline companies, but yet it's used as a reactive tool instead of a proactive tool. And what I mean by that is now they're using it, as they told us sitting at this table when we asked for it, well, we'll give you that information for emergency response once construction starts. And so what they're going to do is, for people that would be in the way, if there's a rupture, well, we'll know how far it goes and get them out of the way. Well, some of the meetings I've been at is it should be used, and we're asking that here, to be used as a proactive tool in routing. Why not get the people safely, as many as you can, out of the way beforehand instead of down the end? And there's a reason they're not releasing this information, and we all can speculate what that is. Last, allow county inspectors to halt construction when wet soil conditions exist. When I was up at the IUB meetings, it was shocking, the pictures just from Dakota Access, which was done in 2016 to 2018. There was one, they had like a 5 or 6 inch rain event, and that whole area was in the flat areas of northeast Iowa, and it was like a lake up there, and they were still digging. And now when you take a drone or airplane over those areas, 5 years after, you can see exactly where they went. And we want to avoid that. They keep saying they're going to put it back the way it was. We want to make sure that happens. And there's not a lot of rules that allow the county inspectors to hold a project where we've done some soil testing and a study with Iowa State University trying to enact some of those tools so we can halt that to save the landowner's property. So that's kind of a, like I said, a short summary of the 90 pages of but how it could affect the people here in our county. So, any questions on that? Okay. What's next I have? Oh, next, probably at the next meeting, we're going to talk about revisiting our moratorium for windmill and solar. Is going to be up here in March, I'm pretty sure. And we put a moratorium on, in March, it would be about a year ago, to update our wind and solar ordinances, because they're really well overdue on what's going on out there. With that said, no, there's no company of windmill or solar pushing us that want to come to the county. And one of the reasons we don't get that, we've had a few probably in our 12 years look at us, but they always drop it because we don't have a main trunk line coming through here. Until that happens, it probably is not going to happen, or technology changes to allow that. So it isn't like we're trying to stop anybody, but yet we don't want some small industry of solar farm or windmill to come in here, and then we've been through enough with the pipeline company. We don't even cop with our pants down, really, guys. And I was at a meeting, and Bryce was about a month ago at a district meeting of supervisors, and it was brought up from our lobbyists at ISAC that they look in the next year or two that you're going to start seeing some standards being released for the wind and solar industry, which what I'm talking about is setbacks. Because most of the counties now that have had windmills, let's say that there are setbacks from a neighboring residence was 1,200 feet. Well, now you're seeing it at 2,500, 3,000. I just seen Page County is right at a mile unless the neighboring residents sign off on it. So it's getting much, much wider.
They're finding out they're noisy.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues in the flicker and road damage I'm hearing from other counties that have had them. There's a few counties that, some of the first ones that have had the windmills, and I'm not here pro or against, I'm trying to stay very neutral here and balance what the people want, but I'd say construction and when they're coming back to work on them are really hard on our roads. And they only pay taxes on, the first 3 years are exempt, and then they only pay up to 20 years. Well, I know Madison County Supervisor was very adamant, and well, they put a moratorium on, because now they're coming back, they were one of the first ones to have windmills in the state, they're coming back and replacing the heads with bigger motors, bigger blades, and they don't get any property taxes on it because they're after the 20 years, but yet if you go remodel your house, your assessment's going to go up and you're going to continue to pay. But that's something that needs to be addressed legislatively. So there's a lot of issues. So long story short, I went back to Tony, who's our zoning administrator, and he was starting to gather his zoning planning board to come up with some new regulations. Well, I hate to see this board, unless they want to, spend buku amount of time upgrading this. In a year or two, the state goes and changes it. But if they want to, so Tony's reaching out to his group, and the next meeting they'll come back and we'll decide if they want to continue to move forward with this for now, or let's wait and see where what the state does in the next couple of years, and if they don't do nothing, we look at it then, because I don't see anything coming in here, guys, right now anyway. But I also don't want to burn somebody out, and then you go through all this work, and I want to be transparent, knowing that this could happen for you. So, okay. Then the last thing, we were supposed to have our review budget workshop today, but we didn't get our valuations this last week. We did get them the end of the day on Friday. So Terrence and Mark will be working on that here this week, and then on the 6th of our next meeting, we'll recess at the end and have our budget workshop with Chris Nelson, okay? You guys got that on your camera?
Yep.
Or calendar, I should say. Okay, that's all I got. Anything else? Okay, law enforcement agreement, Shelby County Sheriff's Department and City of Shelby. Yep.
I don't have it with me, but I know Mark's been working on it. We've been emailing it back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, you'd
So
send it
this
out,
has
I
been,
see that.
yeah, this has been in place since 2012, I believe. We renew it every, is it 5 years now, Mark, that we've
Yes.
been doing it? Every 5 years we renew this contract. So we still are required to have a law enforcement, a deputy come to their town meetings, town hall meetings. We still enforce city codes within the city of Shelby. It's a separate contract for that city because they do want more patrol time and they want a deputy to live. It used to be, so the only change in this is it used to be in the city limits. I revisited with them early last year and we changed that. We modified it in this contract to stay within 5 miles of city limits.
Right.
So that's really the only change on this contract that we've had previously. I spoke with their city attorney, Clint Victor, yesterday. Did he get a hold of you, Mark, via email?
Yeah. Yep.
He was just
Yep.
curious a little bit on pricing, and I said, it's still the same amount of money, it's just gonna increase percentages because our deputies' wages increase as well. And he said, okay, perfect, we expected that. He was gonna reach out to Mark, maybe get a
I gave him a number yesterday.
So they're aware of that as well.
It's about
and-
$52,000 a year
Yep,
in income.
Okay, and that changes every year, depends on what your expenses are.
yep, we base it off of.
And what that is, it's half of that officer's salary and half of his benefits.
Yep. And they pay that amount, and then,
Yep, that's noted in here.
yep. So that's the only change in this contract is the location of residency for a deputy to have.
Okay.
And I've got a deputy that lives about 4 miles northwest of town, so he falls into this contract. So
Okay, things have been going pretty good?
things are going really well with the
Okay.
city. You know, I think,
Nothing's perfect, I
no,
understand.
nothing's perfect, but I think they enjoy having the extra patrol time down there, and
Okay.
I think they enjoy this contract.
Okay.
Good.
Okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
Any
Any
questions
questions, you guys?
on that?
Yeah.
Appreciate your work on this.
Yep, absolutely. Mark did most of it, so thanks, Mark, for prepping the contract. Just minor change this
Boy,
year.
I made a note 5 years ago and it popped up a month ago, so.
Oh, that's kind of
Makes it easy.
You need to do that. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the law enforcement service contract with Shelby?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Bryce, second by Charlie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.
Master matrix for livestock confinement consideration for 2024. This is something we do every year. It's required by law. It has to be approved every year. And I did see that there's been some legislation introduced this year that would do just the opposite. Once you have voted it in, it'll always be in place until you vote it out, which kind of makes a little more sense. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens down the road. But just formality, if we don't approve this, then when confinement people come, then the matrix and the tables of it will not fall into place. So it's a very good program. There's some tweaks that need to happen, but it doesn't seem to be the political will to do it at this time, so we'll see what happens. Do I have a motion? You guys have any questions on this? This hasn't changed any from several years now of how the process works. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Bryce. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Anybody have anything else? If not, meeting adjourned. Thank you.